Hi folks, I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. So today is Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. And in today's video, I thought that I will decipher for you Zephaniah chapter 3, okay, verses 1 to 20, okay. Now, verses 1 to 12 are under the law, okay, and so these prophecies have already been fulfilled, okay. Now, basically, verses 1 to 12, if you like, just a historical recap, okay. Judah fell into idolatry under King Manasseh, okay, even though he repented afterwards. And his son, who took over him, King Ammon, took over for 2 years and was actually far worse than King Manasseh, okay, until he was assassinated by some of his servants, okay. Now you can read more the account of this of King Manasseh, okay, and King Ammon, in other words, verses 1 to 12. If you read Second Chronicles chapter 33, okay, see also Second Kings chapter 21, okay, about King Manasseh, and see also chapter 22 to 24 for more historical content, if you like. Now, eventually, God removed Judah, and sadly, Judah, was sent to Babylon. We all know the history. So see Second Kings 23, 27, if you like, as to how, God sent Judah into Babylon, if you like, okay? But of course, there are more prophecies regarding Babylon, okay? So, but anyway, this is where the real story begins. So on verse 13, then all the way to 20, we see a severing from the Old Testament, if you like, and from verse 13 to 20, these are millennial kingdom prophecies, okay, upon the second coming of Jesus. So let's begin. On verse 13, in reaching the King James Bible, the remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, okay, nor speak lies. When can Israel no longer do iniquity or speak lies? That's when Jesus comes back for the millennial kingdom, okay? Neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid, okay? Commentary. So after verse 12, if you like, the line was severed, in that we are going into a future millennial kingdom dispensation, from verses 13 to 20, okay? The remnant of Israel, or all the Jewish people that make it through into the millennial kingdom of Christ, if you like, will no longer do or commit any further sin or iniquity, okay? As Jesus is going to take away the sins according to Romans 11:26, okay? Pardon me. And shall turn away ungodliness, okay? Because it's actually there from Jacob, from Israel. It's also linked to Isaiah 1:18. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. It's also linked to Jeremiah 33, verse 8. And I will cleanse them, okay, from all their iniquity. See also Isaiah 43:25, and see also Isaiah 44:22, and Ezekiel 36:33, okay. Now in verse 14 it reads, sing, O daughter of Zion, Israel. That's because they are happy now that Jesus is there and has saved them, okay. Shout, O Israel, be glad and rejoice with all the heart, O daughter of Jerusalem, okay. So commentary, Israel, in other words, daughter of Zion and daughter of Jerusalem, Israel and Jerusalem will both rejoice in the presence of the Lord, eternal salvation, peace and restoration. Okay, that's what they're gonna get when Jesus comes back. And so therefore they're going to be singing and rejoicing, will cause thanksgiving as a result of that, okay? And so this prophecy can be linked to Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 19, and it reads, and out of them shall, let me turn over the page, shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that make merry, okay? It's also linked to Jeremiah 31, verses 12 and 13, and on verse 12 it reads, therefore they shall come and sing in the height of Zion, okay? And on verse 13 it reads, then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance, both young men and all together. And see also Isaiah 51:11, which reads, therefore the Redeemer of the Lord shall return and come with singing, okay, unto Zion. All right. See also Psalm 95 verse 1, which reads, oh come, let us sing unto the Lord, let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation, which is Jesus. Okay. See also Psalm 96 verse 1, etc., etc. Okay. So yeah, there'll be a lot of rejoicing, a lot of singing, if you like. It's Jesus is there, singing. So yeah, just giving you some prophecies here so that you can get the idea. Okay. Now, verse 15: the Lord has taken away thy judgments. Okay. He has cast out thy enemy, the King of Israel, even the Lord is in the midst of thee. Thou shalt not see evil anymore. Okay. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Jesus, when he comes back, he's going to take away the sins of Israel. He's not going to judge them anymore like he did in Daniel's 70th week. Okay. And, Jesus will be there as the King of Israel, and they will see no more evil. Commentary, there are three main parts to this prophecy. Part one, where it reads, the Lord has taken away the judgments. Okay. This first part of the prophecy is linked to Daniel's 70th week, if you like, or Daniel 9:24. In the 70 weeks determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression. Okay. It's also linked to Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 7. It is even the time of Jacob's travel, okay, or the equivalent of Daniel's 70th week. It's also linked to Isaiah 28:15, because you can say we have made a covenant with death and with hell. We at agreement, in other words, a covenant with the Antichrist. Okay, so this prophecy then flows into Daniel 9:27 as a result of Israel signing a covenant of peace, with the Antichrist. And on Daniel 9:27 it reads, and he, the Antichrist, shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And we are seeing this happening right now with all the peace treaties right now, So many nations have already signed peace treaties, with America, with Israel, and things like that. So anyway, part two, Jesus has cast out thine enemy. When Jesus returns for the millennial kingdom, he will finally wipe out all the enemies of Israel, okay, in the valley of Jehoshaphat, okay. So this prophecy is linked to a very wide, if you like, plethora of prophecies, right? Perhaps beginning with Isaiah 27 verse 1, working in conjunction with Psalm 104 verses 26 and 27, then on to Revelation 19:15, then into Zechariah 14 verses 2 to 12, then Joel 3:2, if you like, the valley of Jehoshaphat, then on to Matthew 25 verses 32 and 33, and on verse 33 we read, and he, Jesus, shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Finally, we can conclude with Jeremiah 31:11, for the Lord hath redeemed Jacob, or Israel, and ransomed him, Israel, from the hand of him, the Antichrist, or the son of perdition, that was stronger than he, Israel. Okay. Now, part 3, it reads, the King of Israel, even the Lord, is in the midst of thee. Okay, thou shalt not see evil anymore. So, for my commentary right there, it's very important to note that verses 13 through to 20 are early, that's right, millennial kingdom prophecies, and not so much prophecies in which Jesus has already established himself. Okay, so verses 13 to 20 are early when Jesus comes back to punish, if you like, Israel's enemies. Okay, they are not so much once Jesus has established himself, with the third temple and with the fourth temple rather, and so on. Okay. So yes. So yeah, just to recap, verses 13 through to 20, early millennial kingdom prophecies, and not so much prophecies in which Jesus has already established himself as the King of Israel, if you like, ruling for his new fourth temple according to Ezekiel chapter 48. Okay, so these prophecies are more related to Jesus' first arrival in Israel to save the nation of Israel first, or the Jewish people, if you like, from the Antichrist, and the invading Gentile armies that have gathered in Armageddon, but are brought down to Jerusalem, to the valley of Jehoshaphat for the final defeat and judgment. So, thou shalt not see evil anymore, will happen when, according to Zechariah 14:12, the flesh shall consume away while they stand, okay, upon the feet, and when the beast and the false prophet are cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone, as per Revelation 19:20, and that the dragon or the devil is bound up for 1,000 years, as per Revelation 20 verse 2. Okay. Now verse 16. In that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear thou not, and to Zion, let not thy hands be slack. That's interesting. Let not thy hands be slack. Why is that? Now, I told you that verses 13 to 20 are early millennial kingdom prophecies. And Jesus is saying, don't fear Israel, okay, or even Jerusalem, but let not your hands be slack when Jesus comes back to defeat Israel's enemy. And why is it that as soon as Jesus comes back to perform his judgment, that Israel must not be lazy, if you like? Let me give you the commentary. This is a very important prophecy that requires careful thought and consideration. Israel's prophet, the one that they're going to anoint in the second half of the tribulation period, plus the elders of Israel, the priests and the ministers of the Lord, according to Joel 2, verses 15 to 17, having seen Jesus descending from the air, according to Revelation 1 7, and then touching the Mount of Olives with his own feet, okay, according to Zechariah 14:4, must prepare for what this entails. Okay, so the elders of Israel and the authorities, if you like, Israel's prophet must prepare for what this entails, and the hands should not be slack, because Jesus is gonna land his feet on the Mount of Olives, and then judgment is coming, meaning that the leaders, they need to blow the trumpet in Zion. That's why they must not be slack or lazy. Sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly as per the instructions of Joel chapter 2 verses 15 to 17. The leaders of Israel will need to consider carefully the prophecies in Joel chapter 2, okay? The judgment that will happen in the valley of Jehoshaphat according to Joel 3:2, and also Zechariah 14:12, and then Jesus will enter victoriously through the golden gate according to Ezekiel 44 verses 1 to 3. So this is a panorama, if you like, of some of the major prophecies that will be fulfilled early. That's why the Jewish people might not be slack, especially the leaders, when Jesus touches down in Jerusalem. Of course, there are a lot more prophecies that are working in conjunction with all of these ones, okay? But the leaders of Israel will need to act and not be slack and have a thorough knowledge of the prophecies that will come to pass during this time, okay? So, yeah, that's why, they need to blow the trumpet, in Mount Zion and so on, okay? Verse 17, the Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty, he will save. Okay, so this is saying that when he comes back, he will be in the midst of Israel, if you like, in Jerusalem. He will save, he will rejoice over thee. With joy, he will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing. See Ezekiel 35, verse 27, which this verse here is linked to, if you like, okay, commentary. So this prophecy is saying that when Jesus arrives to save Israel, he will be mighty, okay? Jesus will come down from heaven on a white horse together. Let me turn the page over. With his saints, according to Revelation 19:14, and choose verses 14 to 15 to execute judgment. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, as per Revelation 19:15. Okay? Now he, Jesus, will rest in his love. That's Jesus' new fourth temple, okay? They're on the track, okay, when the dust is settled. That's when Jesus will rest in his love, when he has his fourth new temple and Israel is settled down, the 12 tribes with according to their own land partitions. Okay, so yeah, Jesus will settle in his new fourth temple, if you like, according to Ezekiel chapter 40, verses 31 to 35, and be the king over Israel, and he, Jesus, will joy over thee with singing, as he is surrounded by the 12 tribes of Israel, his people. Okay, it also links to Isaiah 44:23, which is a good indicator of this, which reads, sing, O you heavens, for the Lord hath done it. Okay? Shout, you lower parts of the earth, break forth into singing, you mountains, O forest, and every tree therein, for the Lord hath redeemed Jacob and glorified himself in Israel. Okay? So this prophecy links really well with that verse 17. Okay? Now, verse 18 reads, I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. Okay, so we need to break this down a little bit. This is quite a interesting and complicated prophecy. So let me give you my commentary. Where it reads, I will gather them, that's Israel, or the people that are sorrowful, okay, for the solemn assembly, which links to Ezekiel 38:27. Okay, the solemn assembly is a tabernacle. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Okay, who are they are the believers, of Jesus, in other words, the Jewish people, which links to the prophecies of Luke 13:35, which says, Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Now, why do I say this? Is because um, you know, only 1/3 of the Jewish people will make it through, thus to live in the land. That's because of a lot of reasons. According to Luke chapter 21, verses 20 to 24, a lot of people sadly will die. Many will live, would be taken prisoners and so on, but some will flee, to Judea and so on. But at the end of the tribulation period, God is going to have a remnant, okay? And so that remnant, according to Luke 13:35, will be saying, Blessed is he that coming in the name of the Lord. It's also therefore linked to Matthew 21:9, Mark 11:9, which is the same thing, and Psalm 118, verse 26, or even the third part of the Jewish people living in Israel that will make it through into the millennial kingdom, according to Zechariah 13:9, okay? And it reads, And I will bring the third part for the fire and will refine them as silver is refined, okay? And even those other Jewish people that will be coming back from other nations, okay? As per Isaiah 49:12, if you like, and also Isaiah 56:8, which reads, To whom the reproach of it was a burden. Okay, now this reproach of it was a burden. The reproach, if you like, or the burden can be thought of in several ways. One, the tribulation period itself will be a burden in itself, Daniel's 70th week. Okay, that's going to be a burden for the Jewish people. Okay, It's also linked to Isaiah 28, verses 19 and 20, which can attest to this. And on verse 19 it reads, "And it shall be a vexation only to understand the report." Okay, so that vexation only to understand the report, that's a burden. Okay, and on verse 20 of Isaiah 28 it reads, "The bed is shorter that than a man can stretch himself on it." Okay, so yeah, they're gonna be worried if you like. It's also linked to Jeremiah chapter 30, 15. "Why criest thou for thine affliction?" So that's a burden in itself. Perhaps even the burden could come from within among the Jewish people, in other words, believers under the law, fighting against those other Jewish people who have accepted Jesus as the Messiah. That's possible. Um, I have no doubt that the two witnesses, both Moses and Elijah, will proclaim that Jesus is the Messiah and the King of Israel. Also, the Ark of the Covenant will be open in the second half of the tribulation period, where the mark of the beast is introduced, if you like, to testify of Jesus' blood, according to the testimony of Ron Wyatt. Okay, so that's very important. The Ark of the Covenant, when it shows the blood of Jesus, and that will speak volumes that Jesus was the Messiah. Plus Israel's own prophet, which they need to honor in the second half of the tribulation period, will also work very hard, as his mission is to unite the Jewish people unto Jesus Christ. Okay, now see also Joel 2:19, okay, which talks about the burden as well. Okay, now verse 19 then, "Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee," when he comes back, Jesus, "and I will save her that holdeth." In other words, Israel had to hold for 7 years for the tribulation period, and Israel has to hold or wait until Jesus comes back. Okay, as Israel is in affliction, and Jesus will punish them. Okay, when he comes back, and gather herd that was driven out. In other words, the Jewish people will be driven out according to the prophecies in Luke chapter 21, verses 20 to 24. Many will be taken to many nations, if you like, and I will get them prize and fine in every land where they have been put to shame. Okay, in every land, that's also is an interesting wording here. It also includes Israel. Okay, because the Jewish people will be put to shame in that they're going to have to flee their land, if you like, but also includes overseas as well, where the Jewish people would be, harassed and bullied, taken as prisoners and so on. Okay, when they need to flee. Okay, in the second half of the tribulation period, after the abomination of desolation. Now, commentary. First up, this prophecy is also linked to Micah chapter 4, verse 6. "In that day saith the Lord, will I assemble her that holdeth." In other words, Jesus is going to put back together Israel that had to stop, if you like, during Daniel's 70th week, as part of the reflection, if you like. "And I will gather her that is driven out," okay, like this in Luke, many will have to flee, "and her that I have afflicted," okay, according to Jeremiah chapter 30, if you like. Now, Jesus is going to afflict his punishment on all Israel's enemy, and so this prophecy is linked to a wide variety of prophecies. Just to mention only two, include Psalm 2 verse 9, "Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron," okay, "thou shalt dash them in pieces," okay, like a potter's vessel. And also see Revelation 19:15, which and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. Okay, but of course there's more than this. I just chose two. So Jesus is going to wipe out all the enemies of Israel and assemble and gather together all the Jewish people unto himself. One way in which Jesus is going to gather all the Jewish people to give them prize and fame, if you like, is to partition the land, okay, and to give it to the 12 tribes of Israel, and Jesus will be glorified and worshipped in his fourth temple, okay. So one way to give the Jewish people prize and fame especially with the land partition of the 12 tribes of Israel, all the nations uh, will witness that, and also the fact that there's going to be a fourth new temple. Okay, so yeah, Jesus will be glorified and worshiped in his fourth temple according to the prophecies in Ezekiel chapter 48. Okay, now the last verse here, verse 20. At that time I will bring you again, even in the time that I will gather you, for I will make you a name and a price among all people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith the Lord. Okay, so basically it's pretty much self-explanatory, but in my commentary I wrote down when Jesus comes back for the millennial kingdom, he's going to gather back all the Jewish people from around the world, if you like, and give them prize among all the people of the earth. And the Jewish people will witness before their own eyes as to how Jesus does this. Okay, because when Jesus lands in, he touches on the Mount of Olives, he's going to punish uh, all of Israel's enemies, and the Jewish people will see that. Now, perhaps two of the best prophecies that can summarize this best are found in Zephaniah chapter 8, verses 7 and 8. And on verse 7 it reads, Behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country. Okay, so Jesus is coming to save his people. Okay, like it says in the prophecy. Okay, and on verse 8, I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. So yes, I thought that Zechariah chapter 8, verses 7 and 8 is a clear summary of this prophecy, and at that time I will bring you again, okay, even in the time that I gather you. So in other words, verse 7, Behold, I will send my people from the east country and from the west, and he's going to bring them back, if you like, okay, and I will make you a name of price among all the people of the earth. So um, and basically on verse 8, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. And the fact that the Jewish people, will have the God of Israel with them, Lord Jesus, that's pretty much saying that, um, that the Jewish people will be a prize, among all the people of the earth, because the God of Israel will be among the Jewish people, okay, his people. All right, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.